What's up, everyone? This is Tyler Gallagher here with Tyler's Weekly Rundown, recapping the week that was week 5 in Borger Cafe. Nothing really upsetting happened to me last night, so let's just get right into it.
The 2-1. Lindor towards right center field. This one is back. It is gone!
Our Woo Award this week is going to the New York Football Gordons. NYFBJ for short. FBG, sorry. Sorry, RJ, your last name's not Jordan. 153.12 points. Very impressive. 5-0, the Football Gordons. Our OOF Award is going to Bed Bath & Bijan, only eking out a measly 88.26. Our You Got Robbed of the week is Game Plan McMahon, scoring 140.42, still coming up short. Very sad. Next up, our Laugher, Ayahuasca over Red Zone Ronaine. Thought that was going to be a tight contest. It was not. Our Nail Biter of the week, New York Football Gordons over Game Plan McMahon by 12.7. Larger margin than we're used to seeing in the Nail Biter, but still a great game. And finally, our bonus stats of the week. Game Plan McMahon collects their third You Got Robbed of the year in only 5 weeks, ranking the top half of the league despite only being 1-4. Can they save their season, or will they keep being smited by the cruel fantasy football gods? Next up, the Gleany with Muscles, the first team over 700 points on the year, averaging a whopping 141.09 points. True championship contender right there. And this week was one of our highest scoring weeks this season so far. Only Red Zone Ronaine and Bed Bath & Bijan scoring less than 100 points. Believe we had 5 teams over 140. And then my matchup of the week for week 6. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with Wizards of Loneliness versus Ayahuasca Healing. 2 savvy managers with decent teams, ravaged by injuries and bye weeks, trying to keep pace with New York Football Gordons in the ultra-competitive Chiefs South Division. Alright, that's all I got for you this week. I don't know if you heard, but basketball season's coming up.
The 2-1. Lindor towards right center field. This one is back. It is gone!
Mr. J. Fox, manager of the Gasps. How are we doing today?
Fantastic. Dealing with a little bit of a natural disaster here, but that's not going to stop the Gasps. That's not going to stop Borger.
Oh yeah, my friend. Listen, give you a lot of credit showing up over here. Know you got a lot going on. Love to you and the family and friends down there, and all trying to make it happen in this league every week. And natural disaster or not, we're pushing. Some may call a natural disaster the 3 straight losses from the RZR organization, but that's a whole other topic, of course.
That is. The birds were looking like a natural disaster too, and then they came back and kicked my ass.
You ain't kidding. Hey, we're gonna get into that. You know it. So listen, Gasps. We were just talking a little bit offline, and we were talking about how your squad has really managed to be really consistent over the years, and I don't know if necessarily there's a magic bullet or some kind of recipe that you have, but just fair to say before we even get into the interview segment over here, we appreciate you in this league, and you've been doing really well over the past few years. Haven't gotten to the top, but we see you, bud. We see you.
Yeah, well, we usually start out pretty strong. That's been our, kind of pattern. Real strong start to sputter about midway through, and then completely fall apart by the end and choke in the playoffs. But we're hoping this year to turn that around.
That's totally fair. Yeah, you always want to not choke in the playoffs. That's the one thing you want to do. You want to get that Borger trophy in your living room. I see some mantle space maybe, or some shelf space right behind you. I think it would work just nicely.
We'll fit it in there.
Oh yeah. All right. So listen, before we wait too long, let's just get right into it over here. Gasps. All right. Your first loss, it was last week. All right. You had lost, the gasp that is, to a winless Birds of War. So how badly were your undefeated dreams crushed, and what's your synopsis basically of that match? How are you feeling?
So I think in the last couple of years I tried to build a more balanced team and take buys into consideration. This year I decided, there might be a couple weeks where I'm just going to get my ass kicked, and that's fine if I'm going to pull out on top. Week 14, where I've got San Francisco's got the bye, I've got a lot of San Francisco on the team, and I'm not expecting to win that week. I was hoping I'd pull out the W against the Birds, missing Barkley, but a couple turnovers by Purdy and Freiermuth kind of set me back, and then he just he came through. A lot of guys kind of woke up for him, so it looked like the Birds of War from last year, not the Birds of War this year.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I actually took, I was taking a look at your match, and I took a look at your bench and was seeing if there was anything you could have done really, and you gave it your best try, man. You threw every point out there. I'm noticing a trend this year. Some of these teams in their wins were hitting 140s and 160s. A lot of, there's some big weeks, and the other flip side of that, of course, is some really, really low-scoring weeks that we have seen from some managers. So it's like boom or bust, it seems, a lot in the NFL, and we're getting a big taste of that early, I think. Absolutely,
and I think, this is one of the reasons that Goff didn't make the cut for the Gas, although I love him on Detroit.
I'd love to ask that question. Yeah, you're a Goff guy.
He's not finding the end zone. I mean, it's going to Montgomery, and Montgomery and Gibbs are the ones scoring the touchdowns. So it's like he can have an excellent game, and he looks great in the NFL. But for Borger, he's kind of trash. He's only putting up 16 points, even though he's getting the W.
For sure. I mean, Campbell is really, emphasizing that, two-pronged rushing attack. It seems. Yeah, Montgomery and Gibbs. Really fun to watch. RZR's got Montgomery. Sometimes I get a little frustrated because they'll put him on 60, 70 yard. They'll chug downfield really nice, and then it'll be the Gibbs show for a quarter and a half, and he'll take his touchdown, or vice versa. I know a Gibbs owner would be saying the same thing, but sharing those points.
That was a big, actually a problem with Bijan last year. He was sharing with Ty Algieri.
Mm-hmm. Algier. Yeah.
And, Algier get the touchdown, but he has 7 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. And it was just I wasn't
Borger.
Yeah. Not good for Borger.
Yeah, no, a lot of high scoring stuff. And also, too, I mean, the NFL has really just done a big, turnaround in terms of, in recent years, just getting that dual back situation. So it's a little bit tougher for running backs out there, to find where the production is. But, that's how we do it. So listen, Gas. Cheese again appears to have the edge competitively, of course, referring to Pickle.
Yeah.
As one of Pickle's historically competitive teams, what do you think? What do you think the other managers in Pickle need to know about? Is there any division pride, or are you just standing at the top, looking out for anybody, trying to fight them all?
I'm just trying to fight them all. I want that trophy. I don't care who I have to take out to get it.
No inner love for Pickle.
I got some loyalty there, but at the end of the day, this is the Gas show, and that's how I'm playing this.
All right, you see,
honestly, I don't get how Cheese keeps being such they tend to be the higher scorers, and then you look down, you look at the numbers, and you're like, okay, clearly one's higher than the other, but you're like, who's do they clearly have a better team? And you're like, no, I don't. I have no idea why they tend to historically outscore us.
Well, you ain't kidding, man. And I think maybe a big part of the reason why they may be outscoring is, at least this season, is Linguini with muscles. It really, and it's fair to say, you're taking a look at the points totals this year. You got Linguini sitting up top at 705 points. Yeah. That's for 5 weeks. A close behind, actually, it's interesting, top 3. All right, 705 for Linguini, we just said. New York Football Gordon's in at second with the 673, and then gasps 672.
Yeah. So which historically, I've been mediocre with the scoring, but I got the Hex department working defense, and tend to have these games where good teams kind of shit the bed when they go up against me, and had that with Wayne. I mean, the first champ, I mean, I think he got like 75 points maybe the first week of
I think it was 68, 75. It was like in that zone.
And that's a good team.
Completely an anomaly, I think, too.
Yeah.
And obviously we see that with him really stretching back and just right on your heels right over there in pickle. So yeah, they always put together a good organization over there, WFFT. Let me ask you something real quick. Rodgers fired Saleh, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. If you had to
inside job.
Yeah. No, inside job 100%. This guy's been eyeing him. Of course, that viral video of him on the sidelines. I don't know. Did you see that? Like where
I didn't even see it.
Saleh was like trying, of course, respect. Forgot momentarily. But Saleh over there in the sidelines, he was trying to embrace. I don't know this, too. I'm speculating just from the videos. But this is Saleh standing on the sideline trying to embrace Aaron after seemingly maybe it was a good play or something, and then Aaron just kind of like puts his hand on his shoulder, prevents him from embracing him. It's like it's fucking doom stare. And a lot of people are saying that maybe have been one of the looks that led to the straw breaking over there in New York.
Well, I mean, the guy also, he hasn't had a winning season, right? Like,
I guess we're getting Coach Aaron in there, and that's going to be fun or something. I don't know how. Well, we'll see with the Jets. It's always kind of like a fun thing, I guess, seeing how stuff pans out with them. If you're not a Jet fan, of course. If you're not.
Exactly. Although, the lady, she's a Jets fan. So.
No, that's great. So let me ask you, Jay, if you had to switch teams, all right, with one other manager in the whole league, you're looking around, the gasp didn't exist, and you just had to, like, implant yourself into a team situation, who are you picking?
Probably Linguini or the Gordons. I think they're both top-notch teams right now. I think they're firing on all cylinders. I think again with Linguini in the top scorer for the league. Who else? Who do they have on there? I was looking this up earlier, and I was like, Jalen Hurts. I mean, right from the top, that guy's going to be boom or bust, but he's been booming on some of these games. King Henry, I was hoping that he kind of got overlooked during the draft. He was one of the people, that nobody kept, and that's, I mean, some of the games that Henry's had this year have been.
Well, look, King Henry's going to get his tutties. He's going to get, he's one of the greats, honestly, but you didn't really know what the situation in Baltimore was going to be insofar as how they have some really young, promising receivers. They do a lot of stuff moving Lamar around. So you didn't know if he was like, maybe Henry was going to be this explosive, but it seems like, just absolutely every bit of that explosive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd banked on him getting traded last year to Baltimore, which is why I picked up Spears. I thought Spears was going to move up and become the Titans kind of like main guy, and now Pollard gets moved there, so I dropped Spears.
Yeah, well, no, that makes sense. All right, let me ask you a question. This is a question that's been kind of floating around the league a little bit this year. A lot of people frustrated with the tight end situations all around. I know I am. And it just kind of made me think, tight ends, they're a blocking position historically, or historically through older football times, and in recent years, Kelsey and these big producing Jeremy Shockey, of course. These
Sure.
big producing tight ends. So yeah, I'm just curious from a managerial perspective. Do we expect too much out of these tight ends to produce?
I think we do. I think, you have the fullback. I think the fullback's still kind of utilized in college, but you don't see big fullback presence in the NFL at all anymore. So you've got the tight end who's going to be, blocking most of the time. You have sometimes bigger running backs, or you'll have two backs.
Yeah.
And it's hard on them. It's hard to switch that up. It's hard to, fake like you're going to block like it's a run play and then have to go out and catch a ball.
Everything happens so quick, very quick on the pro level, yeah.
And I mean, some of these guys are just, you're going to have 2 or 3 superstars, but to base your team around this idea that you're going to have a tight end producing all the time. Yeah, you're going to get the Laportas, you're going to get the Kelseys.
For sure, yeah. Sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, oh man, maybe it would be a little bit more fun to even have another running back or wide out position on your roster, or even a defensive position or something than a tight end. Yeah. But I think actually the even playing field and the few superstars kind of keep things interesting out there too. So maybe a good component after all.
And Kelsey stepped up this year. I feel bad for anybody who's basing shit on Kelsey, because he's always good, but this year definitely had a slow start.
Yeah, I mean Mahomes, that whole team there. I mean it's an auto pro. I mean they're winning games for sure, but the points really aren't there from a fantasy perspective at all.
They have some help.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yeah, I've heard that 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple more things before we get out of here. Thanks again, taking the time out. I know you're busy and you got stuff going on. Love talking to the Gasps. But yeah, last couple of things over here. Last week's episode, we featured the Wheel of Punishment. We discussed a few things, a few of which being, the 40-yard dash, the Dana Donut Shop, the Darren Waller video. So I'm curious, after you took a look at the episode and just looking at those punishments, what would be personally the most satisfying for you to witness a losing manager? Of course, take into consideration you are doing well, but it's not out of the question.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think the day in the donut shop would be funny. I think you could have, especially if you're like, it's known that that's why you're there, and like the person at the counter is like, "I'll cut this out." And then you start getting people who come over and start screwing with you, and this whole time we're watching on Instagram, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yes. I tend to agree. I think there are a lot of funny elements to that. That's a good one for sure. All right, Jay, last thing I got for you. Gonna just throw it out there because I'm interested. Got a lot of good teams. Divisions are tight. Championship match, though. If you you don't have to take Gasps out of there, what do you think?
Gordon's Gasps. Double G.
That's the prediction. Gordon's.
I'm calling it now.
Dang. Okay.
I'm confident. I've got a good team going this year, unless injuries come and totally fuck me, which, starting to look like things aren't perfect. Debo threw up 280 last week and has been a little off. I know Adams is struggling with some injuries, but I think the Gordons are taking cheese.
Yeah. They certainly do look to be running away with it. But, it's interesting. We just spoke. Linguini has the points. They have 705 points. Listen, it's early, plenty of football left. And just happy to do it every week and be able to talk to you managers and put together a good presentation. So we spoke about a lot of things today. Super happy always to talk to these managers and present a fun show for the league. And Jay, love to you and yours again. See you out in the gridiron.
Go Tigers, but yes, on Sunday. Well, fuck, tonight.
Go Tigers, go man. Yeah, I think we could talk a little bit about baseball. We have some Yankee fans in there. You are a Detroit fan, and I'm of course a Met fan. We have a few others floating around too. So baseball shit is hot right now.
Yeah.
And that Discord channel is blowing up. So pop in there for fun stuff. Thanks again, Jay. Great seeing you, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good.